The courtroom was silent except for the ticking of the old wall clock. Jeremiah Cole sat still, palms flat on the defense table, his deep brown eyes steady, his face unreadable. He had learned to keep still, to control the fire that burned inside. At 28, he had already lost more than most ever would. But nothing, not even the years spent in poverty, dodging suspicion, ducking the weight of stereotypes, could prepare him for this. The judge adjusted his glasses, looked down at the paper in front of him, and delivered the words like a hammer falling on steel. Jeremiah Darnell Cole. For the charges of aggravated assault, armed robbery, and attempted murder, this court sentences you to 60 years in a maximum security correctional facility. Gasps echoed in the gallery. His mother, Evelyn, collapsed into sobs. His younger sister, Maya, clutched her hand, eyes wide in disbelief. Jeremiah didn't flinch. Not when the gavel slammed. Not when the bailiffs moved in. He was innocent. And now, he had just lost 6 decades of his life for a crime he didn't commit. 3 months earlier, Jeremiah was walking home from his night shift at the bakery. It was the kind of job that left your body aching and your hands coated in flour. He liked it, though. Honest work. Quiet. The city never really slept, and neither did he. He was 2 blocks from his apartment in East Baltimore when flashing lights lit up the night. 2 police cruisers blocked the intersection. An officer yelled for him to get on the ground. Confused, Jeremiah complied. He knew better than to run. They said a robbery had just occurred. The victim, a white store clerk named Thomas Reed, had been shot. Security footage showed a man in a dark hoodie running from the scene. That was all. Jeremiah fit the description. He had no weapon, no stolen goods. Just a backpack full of work clothes and a badge from the bakery. None of it mattered. The clerk, still in the hospital, couldn't identify the shooter. But someone else could. Marcus Bell was a name Jeremiah hadn't heard in years. A petty hustler from back in the day. The kind of guy who made a living flipping stories for favors. He told the police he saw Jeremiah leaving the scene. Said he knew his face from the neighborhood. Claimed Jeremiah confessed to him while smoking behind a liquor store. It was a lie, but it was enough. Jeremiah's public defender was overwhelmed, underpaid and underprepared. The jury was mostly white, middle-aged, and visibly uncomfortable when Evelyn Cole took the stand, her southern drawl thick with emotion. The prosecution painted Jeremiah as a man with a record of minor offenses, which included nothing violent, just trespassing and loitering as a teen. Still, it was enough to plant seeds of doubt. The evidence didn't need to be airtight. It just needed to be convincing. Prison changes you. Jeremiah didn't talk much. He kept to himself, read old law books in the library, and avoided the gangs. Time moved differently inside. Weeks folded into months, and months into years. In his 5th year, something shifted. He met a man named Oscar Doc Hernandez, an old jailhouse lawyer serving life without parole. Doc had been helping inmates file appeals for decades. "You got eyes that ain't seen the last of freedom," Doc said one day, handing Jeremiah a book on criminal procedure. "I'm innocent," Jeremiah said quietly. Doc chuckled. "Yeah, you and half the guys in here, but you? I believe you." And so began the real fight. With Doc's help, Jeremiah filed Freedom of Information Act requests, learned how to navigate court records, and requested case files his lawyer had never shown him. That's when he saw it. A police report buried in the discovery file, one that had been accidentally omitted during the trial. It contained a statement from a bystander who saw someone entirely different fleeing the scene, taller, heavier, with a visible limp. There had been a second witness. Her statement had been ignored. Her name was Clarice Watkins. Jeremiah memorized it. Clarice Watkins had long since moved from Baltimore, but with the help of a volunteer organization called Justice Reclaimed, Jeremiah tracked her down. She remembered that night. Remembered telling the police the man she saw had a tattoo on his neck, something Jeremiah didn't have. "I thought they caught the wrong guy," she said over a Zoom call with the legal clinic. But no one ever followed up. No one asked me to testify. A young journalist named Andre Lane picked up the story and ran a feature called "The Man Who Wasn't There." The article went viral, public outrage began to build. The same judge who sentenced Jeremiah, Judge Philip Whitman, had retired in 2023. He was known for his stern demeanor, but also for a deep respect for the law. He saw the article. Then he saw the case files again. He called Jeremiah's appellate lawyer personally. "Bring me everything you have," he said. "I want to read it all." The next few weeks were a blur. The state reopened the case. The witness recanted. Marcus Bell was arrested on unrelated charges and confessed that police had pressured him to lie. The original surveillance footage was enhanced with modern AI tools. It clearly showed the suspect had a limp. Jeremiah did not. In the courtroom, 8 years after he was sentenced, Jeremiah stood again in front of the judge. But this time, the gavel sounded different. The court finds the original conviction to be fundamentally flawed. "Mr. Jeremiah Cole, you are hereby exonerated. You are free to go." He didn't cry. He just breathed. For the first time in 8 years, he took a full breath of clean air as a free man. Freedom didn't erase the trauma. He was 36 now. The world had moved on. His mother had died 2 years into his sentence. His sister had moved to Atlanta. The bakery had closed during the pandemic, but Jeremiah wasn't bitter. He took a job with Justice Reclaimed as an investigator. He worked with attorneys to review wrongful convictions. Within a year, he helped free 2 more innocent men. He started speaking at law schools, teaching prosecutors how to recognize implicit bias, telling his story at churches, prisons, and community centers. At one event, a law student asked, "What kept you going in there?" Jeremiah smiled softly. The truth. And the belief that someone, someday, would see it. 2 years after his release, Jeremiah received a formal apology from the state of Maryland and a compensation settlement for wrongful imprisonment. He used the money to open a legal aid clinic in East Baltimore. He called it the Evelyn Center, named after his mother. In the waiting room hung a framed quote, "Justice is never automatic, but it is always worth the fight." And underneath it, a photo of a man walking out of prison, head held high, heart still whole.